Now, by and large, the event is pretty trivial because we're not objecting to people praying. As I mentioned, we're objecting to the government making proclamations. In this case, we have a president. I realize the case is being appealed, and eventually it'll probably go to the Supreme Court, and who knows what's going to happen when it gets there. But as it stands now, a judge has ruled, and I realize I'm not a lawyer, but I was pretty sure that until this is actually appealed, unless there's some sort of injunction on the ruling, it's a matter of law.
Yeah.
And so for a president who, of all the presidents that have sat in my lifetime, this is the one that I thought was at least most likely to get it. Granted, he is a Christian individual by his own declaration, but he's at least acknowledged non-religious people. He was raised by a humanist mother. I would think of all people, he would actually understand it. And for them to immediately come out after this ruling and say, we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. You know, this was a court case that I wasn't sure was a really good fight to take on. There are plenty of big issues. There are plenty, and you know, I still support it. It's a separation of church and state. It's a First Amendment issue. But you have to pick your battles. You can look kind of whiny and a nuisance going after things that to most people seem rather innocuous. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't a big fan of going after this any more than I'm a big fan of going after In God We Trust on money, etc. Now I've changed my opinion because I hope that they go forward, and I hope that they add the Obama administration to the next suit for what is, if they go forward and actually do this and make a proclamation in direct violation of a judge's ruling. I don't see what else we can do. This could have been a kind of a non-issue. You don't need to. Why is your God so weak? Is your religious view so you know, faltering that you need the government to endorse your religious practices?
Yeah, apparently they do. And yeah, this is very disappointing news from the Obama administration. I mean, you know, and incidentally, I think both his parents were actually atheists.
We have a weird
yeah,
echo.
we got a really weird echo here.
On Jen's mic, we've got an echo.
But yeah, as I recall, his father was a Muslim originally, and he deconverted and became an atheist. So he was raised by his mother anyway, who was a humanist, and his father actually was an atheist.
Aha.
Ah.
Frank's clever.
It was the TV volume that was up.
So yeah, I don't quite get it.
Yeah, yeah. Of all people, he should get it.
Yeah, it's extremely disappointing.
And you know, if this were a case of, he said, "Fine, I understand the ruling, but I'm still going to come out and participate in a National Day of Prayer without the proclamation."
Good for you.
Fine, no problem. You know, that's covered by the First Amendment. You're allowed to do that. Yeah, because that's a personal statement.
You don't give up who you are when you take office, and
right.
He's entitled to pray. He's entitled to go to collection of prayers. Everything else, the one and only thing that he shouldn't be allowed to do by law, and that he should recognize that he shouldn't be allowed to do, is make this proclamation. And shortly after the judge's ruling comes out, he comes out and says that's exactly what he's going to do. Now, I will say that last year, the administration made far less of a big deal of the National Day of Prayer than previous administrations had done, but it's half-stepping.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm personally embarrassed by it in the sense that this is an administration that I at least supported.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do?
Yeah.
How much of it's politics? I don't really care. A judge has ruled, at a minimum, you should say, I would like to be able to present a proclamation, but until this appeal is settled, I'm bound by law not to. How hard is that? Isn't that the right thing to do, both ethically and legally? It's an abomination. But that's all I have on the National Day of Prayer bit.
Well, speaking of separation of church and state issues, one of the things we did last weekend was we had a board meeting, and one of the items of discussion was actually this State Board of Education in Texas has come out with some recommendations for changes to the history standards that are, charitably speaking, it's just revisionist history. And in many cases, it's just a fact-free assault on reality here. In order to combat this, the ACA will join with a number of other organizations on May 16th at the state capitol to protest the State Board of Education's proposed changes to the history curriculum. Those changes are scheduled to go into effect probably
they're voting May 21st.
Yeah, May 21st. And the reality is we can't stop it. This board is controlled by a bunch of people who have an agenda. It's a religious and political agenda. They're going to enact these changes. We're not going to be able to stop that.
Yeah, currently SBOE stands for Some Buffoons Obliterating Education. But
yeah. So what we would like to do, though, is put the SBOE and the Texas Ledge on notice that we're out here, we're paying attention. We're not going to roll over and pretend that this is not happening. This is damaging the educational prospects of about 5 million Texas children. They have a right to know the truth, and if your political and religious beliefs don't stand up to critical scrutiny and the truth, then they're worthless. So we're going to have a rally. It's 11 to 2. There is a meetup notice at the ACA's meetup location, and I will post updates to that as they come in. But as it stands right now, we're going to be there. We're going to bring signs. If you have any signs, especially anything related to separation of church and state, those would be particularly appropriate. And we'll have speakers. Basically, the logistics of this are kind of in place. Need to get 1,000 people out there. Okay, so I'm asking everybody, if you can participate on Sunday, May 16th from 11 to 2, show up at the Capitol and help us send a message. We need as many people as we can get out there. We need speakers, so if you're willing to speak, particularly if you have a child in the public education system, send us an email. We'd love to have you speak. Anyway, so...
Yeah, if you're looking for more information on that, you can visit Texas Freedom Network's page. They've been following the State Board of Education debacle the entire way through for years. I mean, they are the premier watchdog organization that's helping both Texas and the rest of the nation. Also, there's grassroots organizations in other states that are specifically stepping up saying, you know what, we're not happy with what Texas is doing, and we don't want those morons affecting what our kids get to learn in our states. And good for you. So May 16th, everybody needs to come down to the state capitol, 11 o'clock.
And incidentally, if you live in another city, particularly Dallas, Houston, or San Antonio, there are groups in your area who are organizing buses to come to the state capitol. So if you live in one of those cities and you're not aware of those groups, send us an email. We'll put you in contact with local organizers in those cities. If you live somewhere else and you want to organize that, by all means, let us know, and we'll try to, I guess, put you guys all in touch with each other and help you guys organize something. We need as many people as we can get here at the state capitol.
And we'll be down there. We'll be bringing cameras. We're hoping to film some of it and get it on the show that afternoon.
Yes.
And after the event is over with...
Yes, after the event, we're going to go, and this is still, plans for this are still TBA, but we're planning to adjourn to a local pub, and once I get a confirmation from that pub, I'll let you know. But we're going to go over there and hopefully have an after-event party and watch the show from their big screen TV. So you'll be able to get some adult refreshments and watch the Atheist Experience afterwards.
Yeah, odds are we'll be spending a lot of time talking about the State Board of Education, in particular, specific things that they've done over the last year or so.
Yeah, but this is it's really important because the next year the health standards come up for review.
Yeah.
And that is critically important because Texas has, I believe we've now dropped to the second highest teen pregnancy rate in the country. And we still have the highest rate of repeat teen pregnancies. So the just say no thing, not working for us at all. We need actual fact-based health standards out there.
Yeah, and I know you had another topic you wanted to go through, but you want to clear out some calls first?
Yeah, let's take some calls and then I'll get to this other topic here.